Alright. I can't believe I haven't done this one before. I've talked about it plenty of times for various reasons. This game's fantastic. I actually used to own this when I was collecting Genesis games. I still have a huge collection of Genesis games, but I had to flip that one because I needed the money. I paid, I want to say, and this was loose, no box, perfect condition. Bought it at $175 and sold it at $330. I can't remember what years these events happened, but I only owned it for a few years. Price went up fast. I also sold my copies of Gigawing 2 and Project Justice for the Sega Dreamcast because they really saw a steep price shooting up from I bought those for $10 in the last days of Dreamcast. That's the really crazy price. Those are my biggest gains ever. They sold for $150, $175, somewhere in that range. US dollars. This was back in the, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe? Who knows? So other than being really expensive though, this game's really good. Really, really good. It's a weird one. Because it was, one of many shooters on the Genesis, but one of few Compile. Compile put out another shooter or two on the Sega CD, right? Maybe one. They didn't have a lot on the system though. They supported NEC a little more, I think, than Sega. This is one of their most balanced in terms of difficulty for them. Their games are very much on the easy side. This is a much easier game than a lot of other shooters. For sure, but it's not as easy as Blazing Lasers, which I think is an almost extreme easy game, an extreme example of easiness. And it's not quite as challenging as Space Megaforce on the Super Nintendo, which is pretty well balanced also. This is a more fun game than Space Megaforce though, or Super Aleste, whatever you want to call it. But this game is part of that same series. Robo Aleste, which is set in the past. This game, which is Musha Aleste in Japan. Super Aleste, Space Megaforce on the Super Nintendo. The original Aleste and its sequel, with Power Striker and Power Striker 2 on the Master System. They're all part of the same series. I think Spriggan might be part of the same series also. It'd be hard to believe it's not. Spriggan and Robo Aleste and this game all have sort of a medieval Japan thing going on, but not all the Aleste games necessarily do. And they seem to take place during different time periods, all sorts of different time periods. Maybe. I don't know. I'm really unclear on what the story and setting of these games are, but they're really cool. I'm probably not going to change anything here. I'm probably just going to play on normal. I thought you could turn up the lives too, but maybe not. Weird. I thought you could. Huh. Not gonna do that anyway. Just gonna play it with 3 lives. Just play it on normal. I'm gonna do 1 credit and play for score. Don't expect me to get very far. I'm not good at games. Yeah, this game did not review very well when it came out. I think it was just shooters were not being looked at very well in '91 anyway. People were just burnt out a little bit and saw them as old school, old as in not cool anymore, old, not retro cool. No one had nostalgia for it. It was just something that was old hat that was soon to be replaced by FPS anyway. Even though some of the best shooters came out in the late 90s. And, in retrospect, everyone loves this game now and thinks it's amazing. I like this game a lot better than Robo Aleste. I kind of don't get Robo Aleste. Shit. It's a damn shame that it's so many button presses to get to free mode. That's something I'm gonna have to adapt to or find some way of handling. I need to find out how many times to press the button. I need to do like a rapid count while I'm playing the game. I stepped out of the game basically to figure that out. I mentally stepped out of the entire match to learn what the buttons were. I still don't know exactly how many times I need to hit it. I got my ass handed to me. Maybe I should play this on easy. Was I playing on easy when I practiced? It feels like I must have been. It's so much harder now. I'm not doing well. I'm barely hanging in here and dying again and not finishing the first level probably. Getting to the boss with no weapons, specials, no nothing. Got one side weapon now. Okay, it's 5. Going forward, I'm gonna have to know this. I'm gonna have to know it's 5. Instantly got destroyed. So anyway, the game I almost streamed tonight was Shinobi Legions, which I'd never played before, and I tested it out. You're saying, well, why didn't you play it? Did it suck really bad? You decided you don't want to play that shitty-ass game? Because I heard it sucks. Actually, no. It's an interesting one. I'll have a lot to say about it when I do stream it later. I was mostly just wanting to get a little bit more practice in on it. But also I did want to play like a really good game tonight. It's kind of a mediocre game. So the deal with Shinobi Legions is just two things. It's basically Shinobi 3. Like, some of the controls maybe not as snappy. It feels a little more like Revenge of Shinobi. So it's basically Revenge of Shinobi or something. We got a couple extra moves. It's pretty cool. I love Revenge of Shinobi and Shinobi 3, so this all sounds great so far, right? Except for, as you know, it has shitty digitized graphics. They're not as bad as I thought. I mean, it's consistent and stuff in its art style. I just don't like the style. I just don't like that look. I think most people probably don't like that look, so I don't think that's done the game any favors over the years. It hasn't aged particularly well either. It definitely looks cheesy in its own certain way, you know what I mean? It's just not a good art style. I think everybody prefers pixel art. The other thing about the game, though, it's not just visual. That's more serious and affects it more to making it not as good of a game as the other games. I mean, it's still not a bad game. It's probably like a 6 or 7 or something, right? But have you ever played Legendary Axe 2 on TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine? Or have you ever played Skyblazer on Super Nintendo? Those games I can only describe as Sisyphean. Like, it's like you climb up something, you fall down, and you have to do it all over again, and that's a whole lot of the game. A whole fucking lot of the game. And unfortunately, it's quite a bit of this one. There's quite a bit of it in Shinobi Legions. But none of it's impossible or anything. It's just frustrating as shit sometimes. So overall, you're left with just a somewhat weaker Shinobi. Not a terrible Shinobi, just a somewhat weaker one. So we'll have to check it out. It's a Shinobi game. I'd rate it below the 3 Genesis games, but it's not like a total disgrace to the series. It definitely should have ended it all or whatever, you know. It's not anything remotely like that. That free shot's probably not worth using, I must say. Probably best to just leave it on the forward pattern, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure I can do better than that. I think I need to scooch back a little here. Does this game even have a high score system? It's kind of frustrating if it doesn't. I think whether or not you like this game's music depends entirely on whether or not you like Sega Genesis music. This is really what it comes down to. It's very metallic, very loud, and very Genesis. I like it though. Levels are fairly long, as they often were in old shooters. Smoked. And immediately again, because once it happens once, there's not much you're going to be able to do to stop it from happening again. This has got that, much like those Konami games that I love. I'm once again going to pronounce this Gradius to piss everyone off, but yeah, definitely got that situation where if you die and you're powered up, you've got a tough hill to climb, sometimes in a very bad situation. What? Oh man, I'm gonna have to go to the tape for that one. I just grabbed the power up and exploded on an empty screen. I guess there was a special bomb hidden secretly deep somewhere inside of that one power up, and that was the only thing on the screen that could hurt me. Outstanding. That's some weird shit to have to see. Just period. What? That's not good. enemy patterns are something to work with. They're a little different than my usual stuff. A little different than what I usually see. Nice. Scaling effect here is pretty cool. Nothing too crazy, but at the end, then this multi-layer parallax background with layered over foreground, which is very cool. I didn't want that, but I didn't really see how to not get it. Don't really see how that would work. Oh man. Shit balls. Sometimes you gotta mix it up. I gotta take a break from my hand. This game's pretty stressful in the hand. The fact that it's like two buttons you have to hold down together at the same time too is added trouble. In games that will let me, like Axel A, I'll take the missile button and map it to be the same button as the shot, and then just do it all with one button, which is what any normal person would want. So if this game ever does get re-released, consider giving that option. God damn it. Who the fuck knows who even owns the rights to this now? Shit. 6.55 million. Yeah, there's no high score entry, no display of score at all. Is there no score display whatsoever? Let's let my hand rest while we find out. Because that's kind of butthole, right? I like playing games for score. I don't know about y'all. It's going to take a minute to even roll back to a demo, but I wonder if the demo shows my score. It might, but it's probably just showing it as last score and not high score. So now it doesn't even show my score at all, huh? Well, that's a pisser. It makes this that's kind of a bummer about this. Regardless, it's still a very fun game to play. And probably the best shooter on the Genesis Mega Drive. I played them. I mean, I played all the good stuff. I played Elemental Down. I played Thunder Force 4, Ley Lancer. Those people love. Troubleshooter. All of the Toe playing games. Some of those are really near and dear to my heart. Like, it's almost hard for me to say I like this game better than Fire Shark, or but I do. I think though it's probably even better. And we're really talking cream of the crop shooters on a system that had some really good ones. Aero Blasters or Air Buster. The Raiden port on the Genesis is excellent. All the other ports of Raiden from this era are not. Like, the PC Engine one's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's not going to kill you to play it, but it's not, like, it's about what you'd expect. At best. Fuck you. Just a moment. Here we go. More Musha. This is a really, really, really good shooter, in my opinion. One of the best shooters of its generation. Better than a lot of PC Engine shooters I like. I really cannot nail this enough. I mean, I can't say it enough or in enough different ways. Oh, and also, you know, counting shooters or not, one of my favorite games on the Genesis. Probably like in my top 3 or something. It's up there with like Shinobi 3 and like Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with Knuckles or whatever. It's way up there with like the best games. Streets of Rage 2, you know. Maybe it's number 5, right behind Streets of Rage 2 and those other games. It's way the fuck up there though. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. A must play on the console. You must play this if you like shooters. Holy shit, the bean's powered up. Instantly nuked his ass. That's amazing. Getting some sprite tearing there too. This is the maximum amount of bombs I've seen. Shit. Oh, and now that I got Steam installed, I'll be able to play Rage without having to play the, without playing the Xbox 360 version. Not that it's bad, but I'm sure my PC can do it much better. Unless it still experiences AMD driver compatibility issues to this day. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Combat shooters usually have a huge selection of weapons. Space Megaforce or Super Aleste on the Super Nintendo certainly does. There's like 8 different weapons or something, right? 8 or 9. But this game only has 3, so I mean they really simplified it down. It's not super simple. It's pretty normal to have about 3 weapons in a shooter, actually. But it's just not over the top like all their previous games have been, and following previous and following games. It just went much more straightforward here. And with Spriggan, which is Spriggan and Robo Aleste definitely feel very related to this game. I have a Spriggan stream up if you guys want to check it out. Just search for that. Spriggan might not even be compiled. I have no idea. I'd have to go check. It doesn't feel the same as this for sure. Robo Aleste has got like a weird power-up system or something I don't quite understand, and it's real stripped down and odd. Almost feels more like a Sylphid game or something. I may not fully understand it though, or its scoring system or something. I'm doing sort of an informal score checking here, but my high score before was 6.55, and I had 1 life coming into this level, not 5. So, definitely getting better at it all the time. Or have been so far. The transition to a cloud layer here is very cool too. One of the big criticisms of this game, though, was that it was short and easy. I mean, it kind of is, I think. You know? But you know, not everything has to be the hardest fucking challenge in the history of time. Also, there is a hard setting if you want to try it. What the fuck am I hearing outside? Do I shoot the feet or the body? I know you don't want to get in front of the body because it will do lasers, and lasers are bad. They're real bad. Yeah, those are bad. My lasers are bad too, though, buddy. Shit. While they last. That was just a mid-boss, damn. Look how good this area looks, though. This is awesome, right? Not good. What is this? Shit. There we go. Nice. Even as much as I like this game, I wouldn't spend over $300 on it. Apparently what I would spend on it is $175. If that money were just lying around. broke 10 million. Shit. Shit. Fuck. Fair enough. Shit. These turret clusters are a fairly common shooter thing. It's certainly something that Compile use all the time. So it's odd that this is really the first time it's been really a lot of this in the game. It's good though. This game has a lot of interesting changes that make the pacing on it really cool. Shit balls. Is that it? Oh, not quite. Like, it knows exactly how much of each thing to have for good variety, if that makes any sense. I think a lot of shooters just hit you over the head with one of the same gimmicks over and over again, or never really seem cohesive, like they could have just had their enemies placed randomly or something. This game feels very deliberately designed, very smart about a little bit of this, a little bit of that kind of challenges. It feels like there's a lot of different kinds of enemies and stuff. Ooh, that's quite a trick. Oh shit. That's making it pretty far though, isn't it? I feel like it is. That was a fun run right there. Nope, we're gonna get another drink. Take a short break. Let my hand cool off after all that hot shooting action. Man, I don't know what else to say about this other than to keep saying how great it is and how you need to play Musha, and everybody should play Musha. Musha's fantastic, and this is a masterpiece. Anyway, I'm gonna go get a drink and take a little break here, and then I'll be back with some more Musha. Thanks for watching. All right. I was just talking to my wife about all the streams that I have planned upcoming that are going to be first-person shooters. I have several first-person shooters I want to play. I'm going to try and space it out so it's not just constant FPS because I don't want to be the FPS guy. Which, by the way, that could be shocking to some of you who only watch retro stuff on my channel. I'm not a retro streamer. I'm just a streamer. I don't care when games are made, so a whole lot of what I play is retro gaming if it's more than a couple generations old or so. But that doesn't mean I won't play games from the current generation or the previous generation. I don't care. I'll play any of them. Give me something good. I love shooters. And shooters to me is like the whole thing. Shmups like this, vertical, horizontal, diagonal, whatever, upside down and backwards, they're all fun. Shooters is also like first-person shooters, like modern games, third-person shooters, railgun shooters, light gun shooters of those sorts, flight combat games like Star Fox or Afterburner or whatever. Shooters are like even run and gun games are kind of shooters. Yeah, so like it's all shooters, you know. But it's not just shooters here. I also play like beat 'em ups and fighting games. I like games where you hit people too. Those are really fun. I like things that involve vehicles that are fast. Um, you know, all sorts of racing games, racing combat games, not combat games, any sort of action game really. But yeah, some of those game genres that I like are really new or newer, you know, like first person and third person shooters, and some are way old, like single screen shooters, like you know what I mean, like Space Invaders and Galaga. It can be any of that shit. I enjoy yeah, games. There's games from the '70s that I like. Not a lot, but there's some, yeah. Star Raiders was technically developed in '79, and I can have as much fun playing Star Raiders as I have playing No Man's Sky. You know what I mean? There's quite a few years between those games. Doesn't matter though; they're both fun. They both got their own ups and downs too. Star Raiders is nothing but combat. You go to the place and fight the thing, and defense via combat. No Man's Sky I learned to enjoy after I learned the internal mining features off and just make it to where you have those mats. And just focus entirely on the exploration, combat, like doing missions, you know, completionism stuff. It's a huge grind for mining for everything all the time. I don't know how anyone can stand that, but to each their own. It's got lots of different types of gameplay in it. It's a game that I'd really recommend now if you haven't seen it. Maybe I'll reinstall it and do some streams. It's something I think about a lot. It's definitely one of the most interesting, like, conversation piece, weird-ass little games ever. It's even more so than something like Journey, even more so than something like LSD, the Dream Emulator. As far as like a weird walking simulator, being in a weird place simulator, like I don't know how else to describe it. No Man's Sky is just tip top for that. It's out of this world. It's maybe not quite the pace of game I normally play, but it's cool. I thought about streaming the crew also. I play the crew a lot. The crew Motorfest. That's kind of my... I don't have time to play anything else when I want to get in a quick session or something. I'm not streaming. It's either that or Diablo pretty much every time. The crew Motorfest is about to be replaced by Forza Horizon 5 though. And I cannot believe that I'm going to be playing Forza on a PlayStation. What a weird time, huh? Oh, I also wanted to get some Doom in. I always want to get some Doom in. With the first-person shooters, I was thinking it wasn't just my regular Doom, which nobody ever watches, by the way. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna play Doom regardless of whether anyone watches Doom. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so like the Crisis games, right? Checking those out. And then I want to get to the Bioshock games after those at some point, and maybe Rage. Maybe even Rage in between those. That's gonna. So this is gonna be like I'm talking my next several months plans of streaming here when I'm talking about all of this stuff. It'll be spread out. But this is gonna be a year with a bunch of first-person shooters in it, and not just a bunch of Doom games for a change. It'll actually be different than that. Not doing as well this time. Of course, that's always the way it is when I set like a new high score or get much further in something. I'm gonna do shitty on the time after that. Shit. Don't know why I grabbed this shit. Did not need to. Very cool parallax effects. I don't know that I've ever seen one thick beam before. Doesn't it go one thin beam, two thin beams normally? Whatever. Bit of odd slowdown there. There might be some highlight shadow effects here, actually, to do the shadows for the enemies. Some pretty interesting stuff. However they did it. There might be some palette tricks or something too, I don't know. Shit, okay. Okay, we're good, we're good. Good audio cue on this boss fight. Then listen for the chirp, that's when the laser comes out. Ooh. getting up there to where I was before almost. Try this, what I believe is the last level again, after I rest my hand here for a moment. And see how this game is destroying my hand. Just a moment. The color cycling continues even when the game is paused, and I love that. By the way, the stream, like most all of everything I stream, needs to be at 60 frames per second or will not display correctly. This game has a lot of graphic effects that will not display correctly at a lower frame rate. Oh shit, I got greedy and I died. And I got greedy and I died. Desperation really pushed me over the edge there at the end. Shit. So close to beating that. I'm trying to stick a little more to red weapon if I can this time. I feel like I had problems with not getting powered up last time, which was bad. I don't want that to happen. Looks like I got powered down. Womp womp. My ship is invisible. I don't think the screen's fully faded in yet. Ooh, that shit. Dim screen. using my bombs. Shit. Sorry. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break there though. Hand is getting hammered by this game. Sorry. Time to give a hand a break here. Oh, man. Excuse me. Oh, shit. The stereo panning and stuff, the music's really cool too. I love the music in this game, but like I said earlier, it is very Sega Genesis, very metallic sounding, so people are going to have varying opinions on that. truly down to nothing. Like beginning of the game levels to nothing. I'm trying to think of what that what's that vertically scrolling shooter from Technosoft where you're like a little wizard dude on the Sega Genesis. I need to play that sometime. Seems like a pretty cool game and very different from the other stuff. It's very similar to Undead Line, which is another Genesis shooter. It's kind of horror themed, but it's similar to that. There's so many shooters on the Genesis, so many good ones. I still put this up, basically at the top. I think this is the best one. Yeah. It has that kind of universal appeal that something like Blazing Lasers. The other compile shooters are really good for this too. Just something that literally anybody could play and enjoy because it's just fun. It's not like trying to bust your ass. It's not an arcade game that's trying to take all your money. It actually wants you to experience most of it, but also, have good strategies for dealing with the challenges that come up here and there. So it's much better paced and interesting compared to most shooters. It's a cut above them. Again, this is like a 9 out of 10 shooter. And, the only reason why it's not a 10 out of 10 game is because it is such a genre game. I mean, you have to be into shooters to like shooters at all. So I don't think it's possible. I'm not saying it's completely impossible for there to be a 10 out of 10 shmup, but it would be like, that'd be a pretty wild game. I guess Space Invaders probably fell into that category. I mean, as far as just traditional shmups go. First-person shooters, definitely. There are some that are just such groundbreaking and amazing games, like Half-Life 2 or whatever. But, yeah, as far as regular shmups go, they just don't... they get better than this, but not... This is on the upper end of it. Now you're looking at, what I consider to be amongst the most fun. Oh, and along with all of the Konami, Gradius, Paradius, Salamander, Life Force, all those games, man, I'm way into those now. Much more so than ever before. After playing through all of them, I was just like, or not all of them, but like a good selection of them. I came away from that just like an even bigger fan of that series than I already was. And now seeing that there's a collection coming out with a Salamander 3 in it, yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. We can play the arcade version of Gradius 3 and cry together. It's the most awful thing ever made. Straight out of Satan's butthole. I mean, I'm gonna really put an effort in on some of those too. This is the crazy part. Even the second game is just crap straight out of Satan's butthole. It's way too hard. People say the fourth one is too hard, but I don't really find that to be the case. It's a little bit more manageable to me. I don't like the way it looks very much, but good game though. It's not the ugliest thing in the world. It's just parts of it are maybe. It's not like when the 3D graphics were really advanced. It's just that maybe a little more advanced than a PS1 game at most. I don't know, the only port of it that exists is on PS2, and that's really the only way I've ever played it. But I think it's kind of an underrated game. Three's on the same disc in case you want to suffer too. So, shit. Well, I think that's all the Musha I'm going to do for now. It was a good run on Musha. I love Musha. I've talked about how much I love Musha a lot during this, because I love Musha. And, yeah. This is a game that makes me remember why I love shooters, why I love compile shooters, why mechs are cool, why Japanese mythology and history is cool, why weird Genesis metal music is cool, and yeah, it's got it all. It's good stuff. Anyway, coming up soon, I'll have Shinobi Legions, and you'll get to see me fall down off of some platforming shit over and over again and get really pissed off. That's part of that game, but I find it pretty interesting. It's closer in quality to the other Shinobi games than I was led to believe, but to me its controls feel a little laggier, and some of the platforming is just absolutely nightmarish. But it's still like, it's a solid game, but it really, like, the Genesis games are really good, so the comparison makes it look bad. Yeah. So anyway, and yeah, then we never. Oh, and the only Shinobi games we got after that were the 3D ones. Might as well comment on that while I'm talking about Shinobi. So I did a stream of this pretty recently. It was like a month or two ago, right? Maybe a couple months ago. Shinobi for PS2, because I was really curious about it. I had played it a long time ago, back in, I don't know, like 2004 or whatever, 2003, whenever it came out. I had rented it and played it, and I did not like it. I didn't think it was a very good game. It had like an awkward, clunky feel to the combat. The camera was really shitty. The level design was incredibly simplistic. Like, we're talking like Wolf 3D levels of simplicity. I just was not impressed with the game at all, and I was like, oh man, this feels like a really cheap, not good Shinobi game. Well, I didn't play it for 20 years, and then all of a sudden I start seeing these YouTube videos when people talk about it. Like Joe, who normally has pretty normal taste in video games. I agree with him on a lot of stuff. Joe from GameSack, Joe Redifer. He seems to really love that Shinobi PS2 game. So I was like, maybe I was wrong about it. Maybe I misjudged Shinobi for PS2. So I went back and I played it again on this stream. The emulator ran the game perfectly, and it was exactly like I remembered it, like in terms of the way it looked and controlled and stuff. And at first I was like, yeah, this seems pretty fun, but I remember thinking it was pretty fun at first when I played it before. And it turns out no, it's not. It's not good. That's not a good game. That is a, like, at best a 5, probably a 4 out of 10 game for me. Real mediocre. I was gonna try the sequel, Nightshade, but after playing Shinobi again on PS2, no thank you. I understand some people like it. Actually, there's a game that's very similar to it called Bujin Gai that I like just a little bit more. And it's not great. It's probably like a 6 out of 10 kind of game. But it's basically Shinobi PS2 but better, if you want to see that. Maybe I'll play it someday. It's in the mediocre enough territory. But yeah, I don't like playing games that are terribly mediocre. Shinobi Legions is maybe just a cut above. It's like a good game, I guess, but it's not great. And I'm not a huge fan of the way it looks, but it plays pretty alright. So I'll do a stream on it. We can check that out. I have a lot to say about it as a Shinobi fan, I'm sure. So anyway, that's something to expect coming up. I don't know if that's next or not. But probably Doom is next. Probably gonna play some Doom this weekend. A couple of differences. I'm gonna be playing in multiplayer mode. I'll probably go ahead and open an online server if anyone wants to join me, in fact. But either that or I'll do a local multiplayer. Because I'm gonna play on Ultraviolence. And I'm using more like classic DOS style graphics this time. So anyway,